Ordinarily, this would be the kind of thing that would leak out from the White House. A news organization would say, according to 9 unnamed sources who declined to be identified, President Trump is mighty ticked off at his attorney general. Instead, it was the President of the United States on the record, 3 reporters for the New York Times, that would be the failing New York Times, that would be the newspaper that he often attacks as being fake news, saying a whole bunch of things on a whole bunch of topics, but the headline, or one of them, was about Jeff Sessions. And as you may have heard by now, the president saying Jeff Sessions takes the job, gets into the job, recuses himself, which frankly I think is very unfair to the president. How do you take a job and then recuse yourself? If he would have recused himself before the job, I would have said, thanks, Jeff, but I'm not going to take you. It's extremely unfair. So the president very, very unhappy. This is months later now that his attorney general felt the need to disqualify himself from overseeing the Russia investigation, which from the president's point of view starts a series of dominoes falling, because then the deputy attorney general takes over. He had some words for Rod Rosenstein as well, and then he appoints the special counsel, Robert Mueller, and now the president finds himself involved or embroiled in an independent investigation. The problem with this line of reasoning is that Jeff Sessions really didn't have very much choice. There are actually Justice Department rules about recusal, and he was part of the campaign. He was an Alabama senator who was invaluable to candidate Trump. He endorsed him early. He was out with him on the campaign trail. And so he's an integral part of the campaign. And so when the investigation by the FBI is looking at whether or not members of that campaign improperly colluded with Russia, you can't have the president's supporter who was part of the campaign overseeing that investigation. But the president doesn't see it that way. Now, I think part of the reason he spoke to the New York Times is that he does have a kind of a love-hate relationship with the paper. It's the paper he grew up reading. He knows it's a prime forum for getting out his side of the story, even though he constantly grumbles about and complains vociferously about its coverage, as he does with the Washington Post, CNN, and on and on. But it puts the Attorney General, who said yesterday he has full confidence he can carry out his duties, he's not going anywhere anytime soon, it puts him in a very difficult position, because his boss has said, I wouldn't have appointed you had I known what you were going to do. And a lot of critics are now saying that Jeff Sessions should resign, should step down as a matter of principle, that Trump, who also, had some harsh words for Bob Mueller and his investigation, for James Comey, who he thought was trying to maybe have some leverage against him, that it puts him at odds with law enforcement and the notion of an independent investigation. Whether that's true or not, it certainly has created a great deal of difficulty for the former senator from Alabama. And Trump's lawyers must be going nuts. Why would he give an interview, take shots at all these people, the attorney general, the deputy attorney general, the special counsel, the former FBI director, saying things that, could be the subject of this investigation. But, as we know, this is a president who does things his own way, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's in an on-the-record interview, whether it's in a speech. This is how he got elected. He doesn't necessarily take the advice of counsel when it comes to limiting what he's going to say. But I do think the president created a lot of problems, a lot of perception problems at least, for himself with this Times interview, and certainly for his attorney general.